OK，morning，今天是 November November 17, 2021, just before 9 o'clock in the morning. So, we'll record 这个 before I go to work. Move on with the transition. Probably should stop saying Yep. So, 这个是 BIM training. I hope once I record this video, you guys can use it to prepare yourself for LTA trainings in the future. Help you to understand from my point of view how what BIM is, how we are delivering it, what especially in LTA projects, what the compositions are like, and our responsibilities are. Of course, this will be I wouldn't say ideal scenario, but this is the case that we try to reach, or we try to pursue. So let me go through the slides. Where's my face? Yep. The option. Let me look at my face. Oh yeah, over there. It float on top. Okay. So let me go through the slides straightforward, quite straightforward. So the first one, normally for the first introduction, I would say introduction to BIM, or the first training, or the first session, be it for LTA or for the main contractors, we do give them complimentary training. So the first session will always be this. This is throughout my experience with the training to main con and LTA. I think this will be a good combination to bring everyone on board, to bring everyone on the same understanding, and make them understand not too much and not too intense. So this session will probably be 1 hour long, and the next one will be BIM 360 platform. That will be another half an hour. So I would say that will be the day. Yep. Just arrange for a session for these two topics. It should be fine. It should be good enough. Don't one thing that I think I did wrong for the first training that I have ever done is that I make this a 1 day long training, which really exhausts the LTA stuffs. So make this short and simple. Make it short and simple so people can digest. Give them very clear time slots: 10 to 11, 11 to 12, or 11 to half 11. They know they will treat it like a meeting. They will be happy to join, happy to learn, come in, finish it, and go and move on with their day-to-day activities. So that is also another strategy that we have to look out for in terms of planning the trainings. We don't have to give them full days. From my understanding right now, we do not have to provide a full day of training. What we can do is stagger them into small sessions. We can, in order to fulfill our contract, which is in PS22, we are liable, or we are contracted to provide trainings to LTA staffs. However, if giving them long hours of training, I don't think it helps, especially those that are in management level. They will just leave the meeting or pick up phone calls. They have their things to do, in short. So if we can cut short all the meetings, the trainings, into short segments, that I think they will really appreciate. Give them shot by shot train 3 or 4 together, don't go for a large group, and then we can always provide additional supplementary refreshing trainings for them throughout the construction or throughout the project construction stage. Yeah, so I think that can be easily justified given the approach that we are doing, and we can also meet the contractual obligations from our part. So for starters, for introduction, I will always go with BIM strategy that we are implementing in LTA projects, especially Jurong Region Line. And the next one will be a common data environment. So these two comes together in a pair. I will normally talk about myself, who I am, where I'm from, my academic background, what I'm doing right now, my professional certificates. So after that, I'll give intro about my company, which is BIMfinity, what we are doing, who are we, where are we located in, what kind of projects that we are handling, or what experience do we have. Try not to go into very detail on this. Yep. And then in the next one will be the in-depth detail of the project role that we are undertaking. So basically, we are contracted to provide one BIM manager, depending on project, a few coordinators, basically it's Archi, Structure, MEP, and we are also contracted to provide modelers, but that is to fulfill the requirement, but the requirement only states to provide coordinators and managers. So modelers are just there to move things, to do the day-to-day job, day-to-day activity. However, I would really like to clear up on what we actually provide. So let me go to this slide first. Maybe it's a better one. Sorry, I have a message. Yep. Let me answer this. This is from Mincho. Yep. So we come in as a team, even though contractually we are providing one BIM manager, 3 coordinator, but I think that is the misconception or a basic understanding or general understanding for laymen when they are setting up the contract. So a BIM manager can mean a lot of things. Do you mean a CAD manager, a model manager, or information manager, or digital delivery manager? So in order to fulfill LTA's requirement, solely one BIM manager or one CAD and model manager isn't going to get the job done. As you can see, within a civil contract, a civil contractor is obligated to deliver all these items. So to the left, we are obligated to deliver a construction, as-built, and asset model. That also includes managing and auditing the design models from the design consultants, the architects, the engineers, the ID architects, the landscape consultants, the signage consultants, all those that we have to manage during the design stage. And also, we need to provide drawings as in SEM, structural penetration drawings, CSD, combined services drawings, and later on, if during construction stage, some of our civil contractors, our clients, they have their own casting yard. They do not sub this thing out, so they do their own casting, they do their own prefab. We have to provide shop drawings for them as well. And next one, the second one will be 4 and 5D. We have to deliver I would say a 4D environment video or 4D activity video, which in the sense that we have to recreate or we have to create in advance the site scenario for those few or those selected high risk activities that will be happening on site. We have to create the scenario, the site surroundings, the site situation at that point of time, the logistics situation, traffic diversion situation, and sometimes even public utilities diversion. So which means we need a team full-time doing that. We also need to provide 5D BIM or BIM 5D, which is to ensure to audit the models, to update the model, go through with QS, understanding how their claim process is, how their claim processes are, understanding their requirements, the QS from the civil contractors' requirements, what softwares are they using, how can we link up with the vendors, understand where the vendor come from, understand the software from the vendor themselves, go through with the QS, understand the QS software with them, and then provide advice, making sure the BIM model that we are controlling, we are managing, meets the standards, meets the way that the QS would like to do quantity takeoff, and come out with a PQ. Because with a BIM model, it helps them for procurement, it helps them to do claims, it helps them to really visualize. So that is another area that we have to provide service on. That is another area that we have to provide expertise on. And the third one will be 60. The BIM manager or a BIM manager or BIM lead that is specialized in 60 must be there, that can communicate with FM consultants, that can communicate with the asset information standards or requirements by the providers. For this case, for stations, it's one of the SWCs. For buildings, it is one of the FM consultants hired by the civil contractor directly, so we have to liaise with them internally. So how to provide or what to provide in a asset model, in a BIM 60 model? Do we use COBie as a data standard? Do we use is there a AIR or a AIS? What should be in those parameters? So what parameters should be in the model? What info should be in those parameters? And also how our asset model, our 60 model, is able to interface with any of the FM platforms or CFM platforms that are available out there. So specialty in this area is also another requirement, which a lot of the clients or laymen think that a BIM manager should and can do all this. The terminology might be wrong. I wouldn't say a building information modeling or management manager can understand all this. However, a digital delivery manager is able to. A lot of the cases right now, a BIM manager from a contractor, from in the consultants team, can only deliver very good model and drawings, and controlling the parameters and the information in it. Other than that, 4D, 5D, 6D, and the project coordination, the BIM project coordination, that is, I would say, out of their job scope. So this is where I come in. This is where what I try to explain from the start of this presentation or this training to the clients, that hey, this is how we come in as a group, as a BIM manager, as a company. It's not that simple. It is not that straightforward. And the last one will be, I would say, building information management and coordination. So this is where the team needs to know how to manage from start to the end in terms of hosting and chairing meetings, BIM related meetings, coordinating with each of the BIM managers from different team, from different consultancy, and also making sure that you are pulling the right strings and pulling the right personnel to your meetings, making sure that they are well trained, or they are trained in the sense that they are willing to look at models. Status quo or the industry practice right now is that with the willingness to look at model is really really low. So part of the coordination or management is that we have to do all this and have to go through day by day activities, such as if there's any existing services or existing structural services on within the site perimeter or site boundary, it needs to be modeled in. Yeah, we have to coordinate on getting those information and pass along to the modeling team and get it or produced. So I would say when we come in as a team, this is where I sit. I will be controlling or managing most of them, and then we'll separate out into BIM leads. Yeah, that will be taking up 40, that will be taking up 60, uh, and then taking up model production, drawing production, and so on. Yeah. So being able to understand how to do everything will take some time, and it really takes a lot of opportunities to learn all this. So with that being said, we come in as a project BIM manager role, or we come in as a project digital delivery manager role. We don't only deliver drawings and BIM models. We do more than that. We ensure the quality of it. We ensure the collaboration of it. We manage them. Uh, we ensure the culture. Even though culture is really hard for us to change, we are only a external party, but we try our best to make sure that culturally it is in the best possible manner. It is in the most collaborative manner. Yeah. And also we take on a information management role, in the sense that we check and we cross check information, make sure they are there. Of course, this is part of a BIM manager's role. CDE management is also a very big thing. When I say CDE, it is BIM 360 for us, BIM 360 design collaboration. Yeah, coming up with BEP, understanding our project information requirements, the exchange information requirement from the client, updating the BEPs, coming up with a agreed BIM strategy. Those are really important for what we are doing. Yep. So moving forward. Before we start the whole thing, yep. Before we start the whole thing, I would say I would always let the participants know what I would like them to bring home today after this introduction or discussion. If they want to speak up, ask as many questions as they can, I'm happy to answer them. What I would like them to bring home, or what I would like them to understand after today's discussion or training, is that what BIM really is, what are the different aspects, the depthness of building information management, what does a BIM team do in uh, different levels, different positions, and what approach, or what how they can use this technology or this team that they have in-house to enhance their professional capabilities um, in their day-to-day job, making sure that they can improve themselves too, and also improve their output and their outcome. So let me move down on what is BIM. BIM, like the picture that I show here, BIM to me is a box, is a central depository of information. It is a single source of truth. One, the whole project should only have one BIM model, one project BIM model, and it should be managed by the project BIM team. The role of a project BIM team is just like the role of a project manager. We stand in the middle, we pull everyone together, make sure they don't go running on their own, they don't go do something weird on their own. This is what a project BIM team does. And a BIM model, or a building information model, is a model that combines and collates and includes the right, relevant, and important building information in a geometrical form, which means a column that is modeled in with the right geometry appearance should have the right attributes and properties in it to be extracted out as information. So that is for a BIM model. BIM, building information modeling itself, it's first one, it is that what I've said in the geometrical sense. It is a geometrical model that consists of the right information to be used, the right data to be used as information later on. The next interpretation of BIM is building information management. So with all these data and steps and parties, stakeholders, personnel in a project and different stage throughout the rebar plan of work or other plan of work, throughout all these stages, there's so much data available and so little training to the industry, so little exposure of each of the engineers from the construction team or from the design team. So what should a BIM team do? It comes to building information management. So the key point here is information management. That's why there are BIM managers from the architects team, BIM managers from the CNS team, BIM managers from the MEP services team, and BIM manager for subcontractors. So those individual BIM managers should understand their trade thoroughly, should understand how to produce the right information model and drawings for information sharing and exchange of their company, of their trades. And a project BIM manager like us, we are there to make sure everyone gets the info that they require, that they need in their own manner, so they can move forward with their specialty. So making sure that each of the model fits together, each of the piece of data fits together, understanding how software works, understanding how work coordinates within the software works, understanding why it is being modeled that way, why the info is key in here, how it should be key in the step-by-step procedure, understanding how to pass along or how the engineers can use this information in what platform, in what manner to do their job. That is part of building information management, and that is also part of BIM. Yeah. So in short, BIM comes in two explanation: building information modeling, building information management. Modeling comes in the sense of geometrical data model and later on to be used as information. Building information management comes in the sense that you need to be able to understand everything from top to bottom and coordinate and manage the whole BIM team to produce the output, the last output, which is an asset model back to the client. This is what I always tell my team or my clients, that as a builder, you guys are delivering digital asset. As a BIM team or a digital built environment professional, we are delivering a digital asset, digital information asset. So we are delivering a replica or a information asset back to the client, and you are delivering a physical asset using those data and information to create it physically to the client. Yeah, so that is in the sense that what we are providing, or what my professional is doing. My professional itself is doing. And of course, with all this complexity, with all this amount of data and ways of doing things, the software, the platforms, these are a few guides that we are following. As you can see above from my previous slide, me myself, I did go through the BSI courses for Project Info and Asset Info. BSI is the UK's national standard body, British Standards Institution. So I go through with them on the ISO 19650 series. So they are the architect, they are the author of the ISO for BIM. So I did went through the courses with them, get recognition with by them, and others that are still transitioning into the ISO 19650 series are PAS 1192 series, which right now isn't much anymore. The two more or three more, I would say, is the UK BIM framework. This is really useful for the professionals. The guidance document there, the articles there are really useful. This is what I try to study as much as possible when I really feel like it. And of course, the localized version, the local annex, is Singapore BIM Guide and Singapore VDC Guide, as well as the project information requirement by each of the project, which is PS22, and also the exchange information requirement by LTA. Yeah, so these are the few documents that we have to follow. So with that said, with all the use case, like I said, what a BIM model should be, what a information management team should be, what's the use case for a BIM model. So this is what I can conclude, the 5 use case for different parties. For sure, there are more of them, but I think this can come to view as a from a higher macro level perspective. Let's start off from the design team. The design team itself, it is much more popular. It is what the industry is used to right now, which is the architects produce their BIM models. From there, they extract out the drawings. They share their BIM models, and then the CNS designers, of the design consultants, they do the BIM model themselves. Yeah. And then from there, use it to coordinate during conceptual stage or preliminary or detailed design stage. That's the use case. And then moving forward will be using those design models and coming up with a construction model. So the construction team is able to use the BIM model to look at it, to understand the site situation, to foresee the installation difficulty, to train their installers on what to be expect or how to play according to the rules set out during the design stage. The best is the M&E installation. How to train the installers, site supervisors of uh, on how to install their items, how to follow the rules, how to follow the location when they're installing. And of course they have their expertise. What can they foresee any problem while installing all this when we are doing design coordination? Yeah. What are the problems like the 4D site scenario on high risk activities? What are the problems that the construction team foresee during design stage that they can model it in and try to mitigate when they come out with a plan? How they use a 3D environment to train and explain to the clients or to the staffs that are doing the job on site, making sure they fully understand what they are doing before they are doing it. Measuring twice and build once. From there, yes, you have to spend some money on us, the BIM team, the digital delivery team. Yes, you have to spend some time to go through the meetings, to explain, to teach, to make sure everyone is comfortable looking at a BIM model. You need to spend those things, but what you can gain in return is site mitigating the site errors, mitigating the risk, making sure they go down to a minimum level, making sure all of the required communications are done in those meetings rather than on site when they meet each other and they start to shout at each other and the site is so chaotic and you can't hear each other clearly and all of the miscommunications are done there. And also for the QS team, they can use it for their tender, they can use it for the help them better visualize. They can use it for their procurement. They can use it for their uh, fluctuation forecast in terms of the concrete volume or tonnage, uh, and they can use softwares such as Gordon's Cubicos, TBQ, to have a centralized location to update and do their BQ throughout the project, so they do not have to use traditional or fragmented softwares that isn't designed for uh, their job, like Excel. Excel is a great piece of tool for data collection and data analytics. It isn't great for you to create BQs. Yes, this is from my point of view. So with the use of BIM models, the QS or the contractual team, the cost engineers, I would say, will have a better platform, better tool to do their job, and in turn, you can save their frustration, save their time, reduce human errors, and you have a better workforce. Then coming back down to the operation and facilities management team, they can use the BIM model to help them understand how the building looks like. For the case that the project that I'm doing right now, where we bring in the FM consultant very early on, they are able to look at the design with us during a detailed design stage, commenting to the architects and engineers, telling them this is not maintainable, it is really hard to maintain. I wouldn't want my team to go through that kind of maintenance process. Please look for alternatives. Yeah, and they are also able to let us know what platform would they like to use for their facilities management period and or operations period, and we can try to cater the parameters or information that they need, help them have a soft landing when we are transitioning from as built to hand over. Bring them on, show them, teach them how to use the model, how to look at the model, where to get the info for the O&M manuals. So all this can be done. You can have a soft landing, like what the UK government requires, a government soft landing procedure towards the operation stage. And lastly, to the client, what's the benefit for you as a paymaster? You can gain clarity in the sense that how your project looks like in the end, from different angles, not just a few artist impression or a few renders. You can get them from multiple angles. You can interact with them. You can ask for VR headsets to be used for you to step into the building before it's done on site. For you to have visual mock-ups, it costs way less to do visual mock-ups. Of course, you need to hire a team of professionals to do those materials and those linings. However, it costs way less to do it on site. You can have VRs, you can have marketing. You can use it for marketing. You can gain public traction, public recognition in terms of, oh, my projects are ISO 19650 recognized. We are following through all this process. Yes, it might be pens and papers. It might be something just to check the box. But in turn, let's not go into the contractual and insurance part for client. But in turn, your team, the team that you procure or that you hire, the design, construct, and operations team, they will have a better sense of how the whole thing works. They will be happier with all this use case and changes in delivering a project to you as a client. To you, risk can be mitigated. Your contingency sum can be minimized. Your VOs, this doesn't sound good to contractors, but your VOs, your risk can go real down. But the caveat here is that the client has to be fully involved. The client has to know what they want. The client has to have a organization information requirement. They must know what they want eventually. The client must have, if they are operating, they must have a asset information requirement and asset information standards. They must understand when to have data drops. They must understand what to look out for in a BIM model, what to look out for in a digital project manager. So the client, in short, must have a digital project manager or a BIM manager to before they can ask for all this. Yeah. So these are all the use case that I think is available for different stakeholders. Of course, there's more. I might miss out. Let me know. But I think in general, these are the use cases for different stakeholders in the industry right now. Yeah. So I think it's time for me to go to work. I will continue the others probably tonight. Yep. See you guys later.